Alright, so my project is called Tag, and I created it because I was really fed up with the lack of power in different types of file searching. So there's a couple basic paradigms. And the first one is searching for files by name. It's like if you know the name of a file or part of the name of a file, you can find it pretty easily like that. There's a couple problems with this. If we don't know the name, it's not meaningful enough. Like if I have a really long job file and it has a really confusing name and I just don't remember it. So that's impossible to find. Also have a really generic file name. I have many temp.txt's and stuff.txt's on my hard drive. And those mean nothing to a program like find. They'll just return everything. The other way is searching files by content. If we know something that's in the file, we can find it pretty easily. Grep can do recursive searches for strings of text inside of a file. The same sort of problems arise where I don't know what's in the file. If it's like some sort of config file that is really hard to describe meaningfully, I can't enter in just raw bash commands because I don't remember what's in the file. Also binary files, they don't have actual textual data, so you can't even type anything in to search for them. And so I created Tag to find files by relevance. So this is the basic prototype for one of the tag modes. Is that I call the program with a list of keywords and pointing to either a file or a directory. And so I can tag that file with these different keywords. When I hit enter, it'll show all the different tags that are associated with this file. It looks like I tagged it with Vegas at some other point, and it's just adding those to the list. And then finding files is really easy too. So I can search for all the files that contain the word con inside of a directory. And so it'll return a list of all the files that were tagged at some point with that keyword. Now, that's not specific enough, and I have other types of like meta keywords. I have like little prefixes, like pluses, that say it'll return all files that contain the tag con, but they must contain the word heist. So it'll reject files that don't have that tag associated with them. So like that was not tagged with heist, it will not show up in this list. And so I have a brief demo. So I'm in my
I assume we didn't see these files because I don't know how you
Here, I actually have this window over here. It's a little better. Yeah, it's like a list of movies. It's irrelevant. So I have like a list of potential movies in here. They'll have actual files in it. And so I can do things where, say I want to tag to find everything that has the word sci-fi. It'll return a list of all the, in this case, folders. You can tag folders or files that were tagged with the keyword sci-fi. If I wanted to say, I wanted to find everything, not look, same thing. Everything that must contain sci-fi and it must contain animated. So those are the files that contain both of those keywords. There's a couple other meta keywords, like I have. Let's see, what's I also have a query mode, and it'll dump all the tags that are associated with a specific target. So I wanted to search for all the files that must contain sci-fi, must contain animated, but do not contain future. I can have another list. And then I have other keywords like a colon, which would be a substring, so I can do really easily. So a substring, nothing is a substring of everything. So if I just have just a colon, I can see a list of everything that was ever tagged inside of a directory tree. And so it's really easy to tag files and find files and just repeat this process. You can modify tag lists as well to remove files. And I have some man page documentation and it lists everything in there. And the way that it accomplishes this, let's see here. So it'll create a little metadata file called a .tags file. For some reason it's and inside of it is it'll have a name. In this case, it's dot to indicate the current directory, and then a delimited list of all the different tags that are associated with it. So there's some other tagging solutions that are built into like KDE and GNOME, but they don't work as easily, and they use whatever database they use, and you can grep through certain files like this, and so you have really granular control over what you want to tag your files with. So here's my GitHub account. You can download it and build it if you want. I really need Mac testers because I don't have a Mac, and potentially Ubuntu testers as well. So thank you. Any questions or comments?
So I think this is really, really cool. How does it deal with like error checking, like if I rename a file or something like that?
It doesn't hook into the file system or anything, so it doesn't know that. When you tag a file, it'll stat that file, figure out if it's a directory or any other type of file, and then it'll find whatever directory that file belongs to, and then create the .tags file. So if it doesn't exist, you can't tag it. If you rename it or otherwise delete it, when you search for files, it'll say, oh, I found a positive result, but this file doesn't exist, so I'm just not going to show you.
And also, if I tag a directory, is there an option to tag all subfiles and subdirectories?
Not currently. The way that it works from the command line is that you have a list of tags and a single target. You run into issues if you wanted to have multiple tags and multiple targets, because you can't really figure out where the tags end and the targets begin without saying, like, I can't have a file that's named -file or something. So it would be very easy to script it like that.
How about moving your file? If you move your file from one directory to another directory, how does the tag move?
It doesn't know about that because it doesn't hook the file system or anything. It's up to you. It's really good for like movie archives. So, anything else?
So I use a Mac, and my absolute least favorite thing about my Mac is that this isn't the absolute, but is that my operating system sticks these files called .ds_store in every directory.
What are those, by the way?
It's like Finder setting. I don't know what it is. Thumbnails, is that it?
Yeah, and like
Yeah, it's Finder thumbnails, Finder settings and stuff. Yeah. You have like an option to have like a .tags folder or directory in your home directory. That would mirror your file system basically.
I thought about having a centralized like database like that, but then it would run into issues where I wanted to be able to tag like removable media, like my hard drive, or like I send something to someone and they don't have. If I don't copy that .tags file, they're out of luck. If it's that centralized sort of database, this would be. That's why I decided to go with this approach.
Does it set any sort of hidden attribute to the file?
No. The only reason you couldn't see the .tags file is that GNOME hides files that start with a dot by default, but it's not like a hidden like Windows attribute or anything like that. Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about how this sort of thing works, but it seems like you might be able to write some sort of script that could like replace the user's like master copy commands? So you'll first like, move your tag data and then actually move the file.
Yeah, you could very easily script it to do all that sort of session. I move the file, I detag it, and I tag it somewhere else.
Did you look at hooking into the file system? Did you consider hooking into the file system?
I thought about it briefly, and then I figured it would be a little out of scope, and I don't know how to do it currently.
Okay. With extended attributes, I think you can create extended attributes for files. They can store by the file system for you. I'm a little rusty on it, but I think that might be working
Yeah.
too, if you decide to go that route.
Yeah, I just tried to make it really transparent and really easy to have full control over what data it's throwing onto your hard drive. So. All right, thank you.
Thanks. We have one more. The last speaker has come. Ivan has come, and he's going to present next.